Hello. I just wanted to carry on from what I was talking about yesterday with the stereo widening. Um, there was a couple of questions, and also I had a comment about something else that I'd done. There was a question about whether it summed to mono, and I mentioned in the comments that it did. So I've actually kind of split it out so you can see that that's happening. So if I kick it off, so this is the new version. It's just the same as the old version. It's just got additional debug information in there. So we've got the sub oscillator, and then that's going into this mod control. I replaced the multiply and the value with this attenuate. It's a little bit simpler. Might not be quite as clear what's going on, but it's just gain. It's a gain control or attenuate in this case. So this is set at 0, and another thing that you'll see here is this is all integrated into one synthesizer patch. Yesterday I was doing it in the FX grid. There's a reason I'm doing it in the synthesizer today, which I'll show you in a second. So the synth is this sub oscillator, and it feeds into this attenuate. Now as I increase this, you can hear the stereo widening effect. I'm splitting the stereo apart into left and right channels, left, right, and also this is the visualization of both of them. And then I'm just adding them together to make sure they sum to back to what they were, and also going through the stereo merge, which also does the same thing. If I turn it up an awful lot, like maybe if I had a gain control. Oh, that's not gain control. Gain, this one. You're going to get that clipping that we had yesterday. You can see it here. So anyway, that's the main thing. Just to answer that question, does it sum to back to mono? Yes, it does. Okay, but I also had a question, had a comment that I had a more advanced way of doing it, or a different way of doing it. If you see here, I'm using the input signal as the control for this modulator that controls the pan, which is fine apart from if you have asymmetric signals like this one. What's happening now is that it's all in the top half. Well, the problem is that the pan is going to be all to the right hand side, which is, I mean, it's totally fine. It's cheap if you know that your signal is symmetric in some way. So what I said yesterday was okay. It's just you need to be aware of that. But so how can we fix that? So this is why it's integrated into the synthesizer now. So the next version, let's do this one. I'll show you something else in a second. This one, it uses a separate oscillator for the mod control, which is running at the same frequency as the audio oscillator. So that means that this problem, it doesn't cause any issue. So if you remember back on this one, it's all over this end. Well, like this. Oh, this one. it's all in this quadrant here. Well, that's because it's all up at the top of the positive end of the signal. But that gets fixed with this extra oscillator. So now it's balanced again. And again, it's reconstituting the signal quite fine. So that fixes that problem. Basically, but the only thing is that if you do that, you need to know that your mod oscillator here, the pan oscillator, is at the same phase as the incoming signal. I mean, it's not super critical, but there's distortion problems if that isn't the case, which may or may not be a problem. It depends on whether you care about the precise sound or not. Talking of which, so if we go to this LFO one, this is the same as the last one, apart from using the free LFO here. So this is out of sync with this phase here. And you can see, well, you can kind of hear it as well, that it's kind of drifting off. I've added this, yeah, if I turn this average down that I added here, which is mitigating the problem, then you can hear some sort of clipping. It's because the phase of the phase of the input signals, there's a beating going on basically between this free LFO and the input signal, and it's causing some zero crossing issues. But you can kind of mitigate it by putting an average in here, so it doesn't actually track it so accurately. There's a bit of lag. Now this one, there was also somebody was asking about whether it's a psychoacoustic effect. Well, yes, it is, because what's happening is it's like persistence of vision, you know, with the old cathode ray tubes, or a zoetrope. The reason that you get this stereo imaging effect is because the ear takes some time for it to decay from where it thinks the sound is coming from. So if you go fast enough, well, that's not even fast enough, but I'm not going to work at this. Yeah, there's some beating going on because this is free. But what's happening is it's moving this mono signal from the left-hand speaker to the right, or either way and back again. So the ear hears it from one side, and it takes some time for it to forget that it's heard it from there. So if it goes fast enough from left to right and right to left, then the ear thinks it's in both places at once. Yeah, and that's kind of the same as the persistence of vision effect. It's not quite the same as the Haas that somebody was asking me about, but it's a similar idea. It is psychoacoustic. And then, well, I've got this last one. This one's just more of an example that uses some sort of distortion effect. You can see that it's not quite coming back together here, but it's close enough. I guess there's some non-linearity somewhere. But the point of this test is to show that you can change the oscillator to something quite strange, I guess. Now what's happening here is that this, I guess if you zoom into this thing, you can kind of see that there's many oscillations for one cycle of this pan oscillator down here. So you can use wavetables or whatever here. Another nice thing you could probably try is to FM it. So then you can get some really interesting effects with the stereo. Anyway, I hope that clears up those questions that were asked yesterday, and like I said, I showed you how to add this additional oscillator. If you can do it, that's a better way of doing it. But like I said, it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay this way, as long as you know that your signal's kind of symmetric. Alright, thanks a lot. See you later.